I feel so strongly about the value that our creative industries and arts and culture bring to Colorado on a personal level, a health level, a community level, an economic level. And so it's just really a privilege to work in Colorado's arts and creative sector. There are few other opportunities to invest in something that has such a vast ripple effect that like literally makes us healthier and happier, but also provides jobs, but also makes us safer, that also celebrates our history. It's a joy.
Hey, I'm Nick Armstrong, and you are watching the Founded in FoCo podcast. Every episode, we get a chance to talk to an innovative mover and shaker doing cool and interesting things in our nonprofit, creative, freelance, small business economy. And today, we are here with Meredith Badler from the Colorado Business Committee for the Arts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nick. Thrilled to be here.
Tell us about what the CBCA does.
Yes. So the CBCA, and you nailed the name. Thank you, Nick. The CBCA is a nonprofit organization that connects arts and business around Colorado with the mission to advance our creative economy. We are actually celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, hence my beautiful background for those that can see that. And we connect arts and business in a variety of ways. Through advocacy, research, training and education, leadership development, volunteerism, and a variety of other arts engagement opportunities year-round throughout the state.
So I primarily know your work through CAFTA, which is a program of CBCA. Tell us about CAFTA.
Absolutely. CAFTA is one of the ways that we help artists with the business side of their work. We know, and I'm in good company here on the Founded in FoCo podcast, that artists are also entrepreneurs. They're also small business owners. As much as they may fight against that, that's the reality. And as such, there are a variety of legal or financial needs that artists have to contend with. Those can be complex. They can be expensive to figure out, like hiring a lawyer. So that's where CAFTA fits in. Colorado Attorneys for the Arts is a legal referral service, as well as a legal education program to help artists of all kinds, performers, filmmakers, writers, to connect them with legal assistance, whether that's pro bono legal representation, free consultations that we do quarterly, or legal workshops and presentations like the one we're going to offer at Founded in FoCo this year.
You talk about resources, legal resources for artists. What is the most common issue or complaint that you see as artists are navigating the business landscape?
In my opinion, one of the biggest legal sort of roadblocks or hurdles that artists have to contend with is understanding intellectual property. That is their product. That is what they're selling, is their original creative works, which are protected by copyright. Trademark fits in there a little bit as well, but really understanding what your rights are, how to protect those rights, how to maintain them, and then how to leverage them, how to monetize them. Both of those are such key issues, and they come up all over the place, whether you're a musician and you're hiring someone to, play the drums on a track that you're working on, whether you're a painter and you want to license one of your pieces of artwork and monetize it. Copyright and intellectual property is so prevalent. And artists, they either don't know what their rights are or honestly don't stand up for themselves, don't advocate for those rights and what their value really is. So we talk a lot about that when we give presentations through CAFTA.
It can definitely be a tricky thing to navigate, especially in the digital age where your work can essentially be like photographed and then sent somewhere or transmitted digitally somehow. I guess exposure is great, but it doesn't pay the bills, right?
Exposure does not pay the bills, and it is still the wild, wild west on the internet. It is a beautiful and horrifying place. So again, understanding what your rights are and what you can protect and how, because there is no copyright police. It's up to you to be out there and to protect yourself, and again, leverage your work for profit. You mentioned technology. I mean, obviously, artificial intelligence is part of that landscape as well. That is, I don't know what's beyond the wild, wild west. Whatever was past that is where AI lives.
Robber Baron age.
Yeah. And we're still, the jury's still out on how that will fall for artists' rights.
Well, aside from the dark future of Black Mirror and history repeating itself, what can artists do today to help set themselves up for success?
I mean, I mentioned understanding your intellectual property. I think really approaching your work as a business, attending events like Founded in FoCo, and other workshops provided by CBCA, by our small business development centers, and really taking that lens to your work. That doesn't mean you can't still focus on doing work that is meaningful and important and valuable in all of its wonderful creative and artistic ways, but understanding your brand, understand where your audience is and who you're marketing, understanding your budget, paying yourself. I mean, really, really taking that entrepreneurial lens, I just think is critical. And again, as I said before, protecting yourself and protecting your value.
Yeah. Because your art and your work does have value. You have an hourly rate, just like every other freelancer out there. And while you're working on more creative things, in some cases than maybe, say, an accountant, you're certainly doing valuable work for the community. What can you tell us about your panels this year at Founded in FoCo?
Yes, CBCA is actually responsible for 2 different sessions at Founded in FoCo. We will have one specifically on leveraging and protecting your creative work, and that will be led by the amazing Fort Collins-based attorney, Brian Hanning. He's spoken at Founded in FoCo many times. He's a very active volunteer with us at Colorado Attorneys for the Arts. And so we'll be giving sort of the basics of copyright law, and then again, talking about protecting your work, as well as leveraging and monetizing it. So that one's on March 12th. And then we have a second panel this year that I'm really excited about, which bridges both the folks in the nonprofit track, as well as the folks in the creative and entrepreneurial track. And that's a panel looking at our arts and culture funding landscape. We're talking about money. It's also kind of the Wild West out there. We've seen tons of changes in the funding landscape for nonprofit as well as for-profit artists since the pandemic, and certainly in this new administration in 2025. So we have a great panel put together to just talk about what they're seeing, advice. On that panel, we have Laura Valdez, who's the Community Programs Director at the Bohemian Foundation. So an amazing private foundation rooted in Northern Colorado. So giving that sort of foundation perspective. We have Josh Blanchard, who's the Director of Colorado Creative Industries, our state arts agency. So giving a government, particularly a state government perspective. And CCI does a lot in both for-profit and nonprofit arts and culture. And Josh also has a background in the nonprofit art space as well as Laura. And then our third panelist is Megan Raucher, who works for DreamSpring, which is a microfinance and loan organization. So talking about what is that financing, loan, access to capital space look like. Megan is also an independent filmmaker, so also all of these folks are also creative themselves. So it's great to have sort of foundation, government, and financing all talking about this funding landscape.
Yeah. And having gotten the letter from CCI, 'cause our organization through Fort Collins Comic Con has support from CCI as well. It is one of those moments in time where the questions are out there. And I think artists have every right to kind of feel a little bit antsy about this. The impact of some of these federal funding freezes that are coming down the line to impact your ability to produce art and provide grants if you're an institution. Those are tricky things to navigate for somebody who's just hoping to put a mural on a wall or to write the next great trance song, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Making sure that things are still flowing as you're able to do your work.
Yes. I imagine we may leave that conversation with as many questions as we came in with, but hopefully with a little bit more understanding of how to navigate this ecosystem.
You know, the thing that I've found is over and over again that the community, especially the nonprofit and the creative communities, when you get them together in a room, that the solutions tend to flow. Even if there are a lot of questions, there is power and a strength in community and gathering together. So that's a hopeful thing. That's one of the reasons that we hope to see you at Founded in FoCo this year. It's such an important thing for you to participate in as a creative, to treat yourself as sort of a business in this way, but also know that the panels are not, going to be completely alien to you. If you are walking into, Finance 101, you'll still hear things that are relevant to you as an artist.
Absolutely. And I just want to commend Founded in FoCo. I think you all have done such a great job over the years. I've had the pleasure of attending several times, and really bringing that mix of people from the nonprofit community, the creative community, the tech community, other small businesses. I think that's why CBCA is the Business Committee for the Arts. We believe so strongly in, frankly, the magic that happens when you bring those seemingly disparate groups together, and how they can inform each other, ask questions, find opportunities for collaboration. So I love that we get to continue to be a part of this, share some business education and legal education to folks in the community, but also engage in dialogue and be part of that conversation.
No, thank you, Meredith. Your check is in the mail, but also we call that the Reese's peanut butter effect, about bringing together different groups and interests, and having everybody in the same room and making those connections across disciplines and across functions. How did you get started at CBCA, or how did you get started down in the legal path for arts?
Oh yeah, well, I am not an attorney. I've had the joy of running CAFTA. I launched CAFTA actually about 10 years ago. I have been at CBCA for about 11 and a half years. I have a background in theater, was doing some nonprofit consulting, and just these are my people. This is my ecosystem, being in the creative sector. I feel so strongly about the value that our creative industries and arts and culture bring to Colorado on a personal level, a health level, a community level, an economic level. And so it's just really a privilege to work in Colorado's arts and creative sector. There are few other opportunities to invest in something that has such a vast ripple effect that literally makes us healthier and happier, but also provides jobs, but also makes us safer, that also celebrates our history. It's a joy.
Can't keep a theater kid down.
No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in.
That's the lesson to be learned in all of this. What would you say to a business that wants to help support artists and creatives in their either their day to day or somehow through their processes? What advice would you have for them?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions, Nick. Thank you. We talk a lot at CBCA about not just why businesses should partner with the arts, but how. The why is for all those benefits I just said. There are so few other things that you can invest in and support that have such a huge ripple effect. And that ripple effect comes back to that company in really meaningful ways for their employees, for their brand, for their community. But I also love talking about the how. most often businesses just think about their corporate social responsibility or their philanthropy, and we love that and we need it, and please keep writing checks and please keep sponsoring events. But there are so many other ways that businesses can engage and partner with the arts, that through volunteerism with their employees, through leveraging resources that they have that may be underutilized for branding and visibility opportunities. We give awards every year at CBCA for Arts and Business Partnership. Our annual Business for the Arts Awards luncheon is coming up on April 22nd. And it's incredible every year that we're honoring, large corporate banks to small pizza companies and breweries who are finding unique and meaningful ways to find those mutually beneficial partnerships. So my advice would be to think outside the box, to literally think creatively, because I'm sure there are ways that are either cost effective or have huge returns back to your company when you engage in arts and culture.
What is a last piece of advice that you have for our listener out there who wants either to know more about CBCA and how to get involved, or whether or not they should show up and attend to the panel?
Well, they should absolutely show up and attend. Founded in FoCo. Like I said, it is such a great event. I've attended many startup weeks and similar events, and I really feel like Founded in FoCo is such a treasure. So you should absolutely come with your questions for both of the two workshops that I mentioned that CBCA is involved with. We want them to be very interactive. Those speakers are there to answer your questions. If we go off script right away, no one's upset about that. We are here to provide value back to you. And then my advice is just keep doing what you're doing. We need your creative ideas and creative thinking and creative solutions so much. So don't get discouraged. Keep doing what you're doing and reach out to CBCA. We have a lot of other programs and membership and ways that we engage with folks across the state.
Meredith, where can we find out more about CBCA and learn about those resources that you were talking about?
Yes, on our website, which is cbca.org. That's the best place. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can find our social media. We have, all of our programs, our membership. We have a resource page. There's a lot of good stuff there.
And of course, you can come meet them in person at Founded in FoCo at the Fort Collins Senior Center between March 10th and March 13th this year. And we cannot wait to see you there. FoundedInFoCo.com for schedule, tickets, more. There is a pay what you can option. If you are a starving artist, please do not feel like you have to sit on the sidelines. We want to have you in the room. Come enjoy some coffee. We've got lunch every single day. We want you there. Please come and join us. Learn more about how you can support yourself, how you can support your fellow artists, your creatives, and treat yourself like a business, because it's so important. Art is to our community, and especially as a survival mechanism, a thrival mechanism, we need it. We need you. We need the work that you're doing in the community, and we cannot wait to see you there. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is a Founded in FoCo podcast. For more great interviews like this one, join us at foundedinfoco.com.